If you want to limit government, the best way to do it is to take the power from Washington, from the bureaucrats, the politicians, the interest groups, and send it back to the states and the American people. If we do that across the board, we're going to limit the mischief they can do out there in Washington and some of the prices and the costs and so forth associated with that. Take away their power. All of a sudden, some of the costs come down, and the taxpayers are in better shape, and you're making more of your own decisions. In this area of limiting government, also as you do it, you're going to expand the economy, and you're going to create high-wage jobs. Well, I just went through a lot of what I support with farmers. But on tax reform, yes, it shouldn't be the IRS bureaucrats and the politicians on the Ways and Means Committee and the interest groups that go into the Congresspeople's office and try to get special deals. They're not the ones that should be deciding how you spend, save, invest your money and income. It should be you. And the more we can flatten the code and eliminate the deductions and give that power back to you with lower rates, the better. Now, what's going on right now in Washington with the tax reform initiative, I generally support, because it's a step in the right direction and it's something that's long overdue. And I'm not one of these people that thinks, hey, you know what, the only way we can reform taxes is if we wait every 20 or 30 years. No, we'll do this and then we need to keep going back. Ultimately, a flat tax with very few deductions, something like a fair tax, radical tax reform in the long haul is what we need to get to. Maybe that needs to be transitioned to, but that's what I support because that gives the power back to the people. In the other areas of regulations, we talked about the REINS Act, we talked about, when you take the power away from the regulatory agencies and give it back to the states, you're in good shape. You look at the waters of the United States, the regulation that Obama tried to put out there. It's a disaster. The last question, I didn't get to it. But there's a war on agriculture in this country, and we saw it during the Obama administration. We see it from the Democrat Party still today. Waters of the United States was a great example of that. You give the EPA and the federal government the power to come on farmers' land or small businesses and say, oh, you're shut down. Go ahead and go to administrative court and try to get your land back. Good luck. Not every farmer's got $30 or $40 or $50,000 to do that. It would take the power, unfortunately, and give it to the federal government instead of the person. So that's an example. Here's another one, work for welfare. When I was working for Congressman Stanglin in the 80s, we carried that bill for the House Republicans. And then Newt Gingrich and the Republicans picked it up. That's an excellent way in order to limit power and promote self-sufficiency and drive down costs of government. When I had a job at one time as the Director of Legislative and Public Affairs for a Treasury agency called the Financial Management Service. And it was that agency of government, a nonpartisan part of the government, that takes government receipts and makes government expenditures. And we were making like a billion payments. Half of them were by check at 45 cents a piece. Half of them were by electronics. And I said to my boss, why don't we just make them all electronic and save the government some money? And he says, well, Hagedorn, we need a bill to get that done. If you can get it done, more power to you. So we went to the Clinton administration, went to the Congress. And I got that bill introduced. And then we got it through, we had a hearing on it. It passed the House 3 times. The Senate kept kicking it out. Finally, it was enacted into law. It's called the EFT, Electronic Funds Transfer 99 Act. And what we were able to do is save about $2 billion. We closed 4 government check writing centers. We eliminated 5% of our workforce. And we improved service to the taxpayers of the United States. That's draining the swamp. That's what you're looking for in a representative. That's my record. And when I had an opportunity to use influence and power in Washington, I put it to good use for you and the taxpayers. And that's what I would do as your congressman.